How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. Things that make a narcissist miserable. Number one, constant need for admiration. A narcissist thrives on admiration and validation from others. So when they don't receive the praise they expect, they can feel deeply insecure. For example, a narcissistic CEO who is accustomed to constant compliments from their staff might become disheartened if their achievements aren't recognized during a major company event. There's also fear of rejection. Narcissists have a profound fear of rejection, which stems from their fragile self-esteem. So if a narcissist's romantic partner decides to end the relationship, they may experience intense emotional turmoil. This rejection challenges their self-image and leaves them feeling inadequate. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is their inability to handle criticism. Criticism can be devastating for narcissists. For instance, a narcissistic artist who's used to only receiving positive feedback might become despondent if their work is criticized by a reputable critic, leading to a crisis of self-worth. Narcissists dependency on external validation also makes a narcissist miserable. Narcissists often rely heavily on external validation to feel good about themselves. A public figure who loses their popularity might face significant distress as their self-esteem is tied to their public image, resulting in feelings of worthlessness when they are no longer in the spotlight. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is the lack of genuine relationships. Narcissists struggle to form genuine connections as their relationships are often superficial. A narcissist who is isolated due to their self-centered behavior may feel lonely and disconnected, exacerbating their sense of misery. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is unrealistic expectations. Narcissists often set unrealistic expectations for themselves and others. For instance, a narcissistic team leader who expects flawless performance from their team may become frustrated and disillusioned when their high standards are not met, leading to a feeling of failure. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is difficulty in handling setbacks. Setbacks can be particularly hard for narcissists to manage. An entrepreneur with a narcissistic personality who faces a business failure might struggle to cope, feeling that their identity and success are being threatened. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is fear of exposure. Narcissists fear that their true selves will be exposed. For example, a narcissistic politician who is confronted with scandals or failures might experience anxiety and stress, worried that their carefully crafted public image is falling apart. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is envy of others. Narcissists often feel envious of others who they perceive as having something they lack. A narcissistic actor might feel bitter and resentful towards a colleague who receives a prestigious award, leading to feelings of inadequacy and frustration. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is perfectionism. A narcissist's pursuit of perfection can lead to dissatisfaction. For instance, a narcissistic student who constantly strives for perfect grades may become miserable if they receive anything less than an A, feeling that their self-worth is at stake. Narcissists, there are things that make them miserable. For instance, inability to handle failure. Failure is particularly challenging for narcissists. A narcissistic athlete who loses a major competition may experience profound distress, as their sense of identity and self-worth is closely tied to their success and superiority. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is superficial self-esteem. Narcissists often have a superficial sense of self-esteem that crumbles in the face of adversity. A narcissistic social media influencer who loses followers may feel devastated as their self-worth is heavily dependent on online approval. Then there'll be difficulty in self-reflection. Narcissists struggle with self-reflection and introspection. For example, a narcissistic manager who receives feedback on their poor leadership skills might be unable to process or accept the criticism, leading to ongoing frustration and conflict. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is impaired empathy. A lack of empathy can make narcissists feel disconnected. A narcissistic friend who consistently disregards others' feelings may find themselves isolated when their behavior alienates those around them, leading to feelings of loneliness. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is manipulative tendencies. Narcissists often use manipulation to get what they want. So when their manipulative strategies fail, such as a narcissistic politician who loses an election despite their efforts to manipulate public opinion. They may experience significant disappointment and self-loathing. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is difficulty in accepting accountability. Narcissists struggle with accountability. For instance, a narcissistic executive who blames others for a failed project may feel increasingly frustrated when their excuses are not accepted, as they are unwilling to accept responsibility for their actions. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is lack of self-worth. Despite outward appearances, narcissists often have a fragile sense of self-worth. A narcissistic celebrity who faces a public scandal, for instance, might experience a profound crisis of self-worth, as their identity is heavily tied to their public persona. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is fear of losing control. Narcissists fear losing control over their environment and relationships. A narcissistic leader who faces a challenge to their authority may feel threatened and miserable, or as losing control undermines their sense of superiority. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is emotional instability. Narcissists can exhibit emotional instability when their self-image is threatened. For instance, a narcissistic artist who receives mixed reviews might fluctuate between extreme confidence and deep despair, reflecting their unstoppable emotional state. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is difficulty in managing relationships. Narcissists often have strained relationships due to their self-centered behavior. A narcissistic partner who continually prioritizes their own needs over their partners may find themselves facing relationship breakdowns and feelings of isolation. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is lack of genuine self-awareness. Narcissists often lack genuine self-awareness when faced with situations that challenge their self-perception, such as a narcissistic executive being criticized for poor leadership. They may struggle to understand or accept the feedback, leading to frustration. Narcissists, the other thing that makes them miserable is high sensitivity to rejection. Narcissists are highly sensitive to rejection. A narcissistic job applicant who is turned down for a position they felt entitled to may experience a severe blow to their self-esteem, feeling that their worth has been diminished. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is difficulty accepting change. Narcissists often struggle with change as it threatens their established sense of superiority. For example, a narcissistic business owner who must adapt to new industry standards might feel overwhelmed and unhappy as it challenges their perceived dominance. Narcissists, the other thing that makes them miserable is overemphasis on achievement. A narcissistic athlete who does not win a major competition might experience profound dissatisfaction and depression as their sense of self-worth is tied to their success and accolades. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is lack of emotional resilience. Narcissists often have poor emotional resilience when faced with a personal setback, such as failed relationship. A narcissistic individual may struggle to recover and adapt, leading to prolonged misery and distress. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is difficulty in accepting vulnerability. Narcissists find it difficult to accept vulnerability. A narcissistic individual who is forced to confront their weaknesses, such as a failed project at work, may become defensive and aggressive, as vulnerability threatens their self-image. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is their need for constant validation. The need for constant validation can leave narcissists feeling empty when they don't receive it. A narcissistic social media personality who faces a drop in engagement might feel a deep sense of worthlessness and misery, as their self-worth is closely tied to online approval. Now, the other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is unfulfilled expectations. When narcissists' expectations are not met, they can experience significant frustration. For instance, a narcissistic business leader who fails to achieve their their ambitious goals might feel disappointed and miserable, as their self-worth is tied to their success. The other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is difficulty in accepting imperfection. Narcissists often have difficulty accepting imperfection in themselves and others. A narcissistic person who encounters a minor flaw in their work may experience disproportionate distress as it challenges their need for perfection and superiority. And finally, the other thing that makes a narcissist miserable is conflict with authority. Narcissists often struggle with authority figures as they view themselves as superior. A narcissistic employee who faces criticism from a supervisor may feel unjustly threatened and deeply unhappy as their sense of superiority is challenged. Now, these examples that I've mentioned in this video illustrate how narcissists' internal struggles and dependence on external validation can contribute to their misery. So each point I've discussed in this video demonstrates a different facet of the narcissist experience, highlighting how their deep-seated insecurities and rigid self-concepts can lead to significant distress when the expectations or self-image are threatened. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Hit that subscribe button if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you.